This is the Bod Pod, the podcast where we welcome friends and experts to talk all things body image, self-love, and confidence. This is the Bod Pod.
PodCon, I'm Rachel K. Grimm, your resident hype girl and host of the Bod Pod, here to talk all things confidence, how we find it, keep it, and grow it. And today I'm talking with a viral sensation on TikTok. You've probably heard her, Reesa Teesa. She is a brilliant storyteller and has vulnerably shared her experience in the series, Who the F Did I Marry? Reesa Teesa Johnson is the creator of the viral media series, Who the F Did I Marry? She made international news when she created a 50-part series on TikTok. The series, over 500 minutes long, has garnered over 450 million views and impressions. Praised for her authenticity and vulnerability in the series, Reesa is also an avid storyteller. She amassed a following of over 3 million people in the span of just 2 short weeks, and she has been featured on Good Morning America, The Tamron Hall Show, Culture Con, Rolling Out Magazine, and now the Bod Pod. I know I speak for us all at the BodCon when I say we are thrilled to have Reesa on to share her story. Not only will she be sharing her story today, but also at our conference happening November 3rd, where we have so many different panels spanning what confidence is all about. And she's particularly going to be talking about relationships, dating, and of course, the relationship with yourself, because that is the one that is most important and gets us to where we want to be. If you haven't heard Reesa's Who the F Did I Marry series on TikTok, I would definitely encourage you to go and watch it, listen to it like an audiobook. For context, the interview you're about to hear, we're not going to go into her exact story of what happened. We're instead going to talk about the confidence that she gained through it, the tips and resources that she has for other women walking into relationships. But for anyone listening who hasn't heard the TikTok and is going to keep listening to this episode, just know that her story is about her relationship where she dated and married and divorced someone who was a pathological liar and created a life for her that was absolutely false. And she slowly but very diligently and detectively uncovered the truth throughout their relationship and was able to bring it to light for herself to understand what was happening, and now has shared her story. Obviously, she told this story in over a 50-part series. She spent a lot of time diving into the details. I'm not going to do it justice, but I just want you to know a little bit of background as we get into this episode and talk about what she's learned from all of this, the tips she has for you and me, and where her confidence is now and where she sees herself going. Enough of me rambling. Let's listen to this storytelling queen and hop into it with Reesa Teesa. Prior to your 50-part series, you did not have a following on social media, correct?
No, not a big following at all. Just about 8,000.
Okay.
I had about 8,000 followers.
So obviously still 8,000 people is like a lot of eyes on you, but in comparison to now over 3 million followers, what gave you the confidence to be like, you know what? I'm going to share this story to my 8,000 followers, and maybe it will be heard by other people, maybe not.
Well, I can't say that anything necessarily gave me the confidence. I really, truly just thought, this is a crazy experience I went through. Like, everyone's been telling me for the longest time, you need to make this into a movie, you need to make this into a book. And I happened to see another TikTok that I had stitched that was like, what's the craziest thing your ex has ever done? And literally from there were people who were like, when I answered that one stitch, they were like, what? Like, what in the world happened? And so it really was just a matter of me answering the question of, okay, let me go ahead and tell this story from start to finish. And I'll record it and I'll just upload it. And people, if they want to listen to it, they can listen to it like an audiobook. I'm not sure that too many people will, because it did end up being 50 parts, but I definitely had no idea that it was going to take off the way it did. The initial thought was just, I'm just telling y'all an experience that happened to me.
How did you feel in that moment? What kept you going through it, even though you were feeling this like heaviness and those emotions?
So the bigger picture was, it was very cathartic to get it out. It really, truly was. But the process in getting it out, it was surprising to me how difficult it was to relive all of that. But again, the bigger picture was, look, you started it, go ahead and finish it. And there were definitely some moments where I thought about packing it up and just deleting the entire series, deleting TikTok, especially once they found my ex-husband's, once they released his identity. But I really just felt like, look, you've come this far. Like, go ahead and finish this story. It may help someone. It definitely, I was not expecting for it to be seen as entertainment, but my goal was, I hope it helps somebody. And at that point, it was almost like you're at the point of no return, because it was around part 43 or part 44 that I was really like, man, I should just stop and delete everything. But you're literally way more than halfway through. So just go ahead and push through and finish.
And I am sure that you've impacted more than one person through this series.
Yeah. No, the responses were overwhelming.
Yeah.
They were absolutely overwhelming. It was definitely a situation, like you said, it was not just women. It was not just one particular race. It was both men and women who were like, the same thing happened to me personally, or I know someone where this happened to them. And a lot of people, what was surprising was that they felt like, you're so brave for sharing your story. And I understand why they use the word brave, because for 3 years, I was walking around with such embarrassment and shame at the fact that I fell for this and did not want to talk about it outside of my close friends and family. So I understood where people were coming from, but a lot of the responses were people sharing with me their own story, or just people sharing with me, like I said, the encouragement of the same thing happened to me. The same thing happened to a family member or to a close friend. And they did not have the outcome that you had. So I got a wide variety of responses, but they were all overwhelmingly positive.
You talked about the shame, the embarrassment, and whether someone has been through something just like you have or something completely different. I think we all deal with the feelings of shame and embarrassment, and not wanting the people around us, whether that be our friends, our family, strangers, coworkers, to know what's really going on. To anyone listening who might be dealing with feelings of shame, embarrassment for whatever it is they're going through, maybe some tips and resources you have to overcoming that and stepping into your truth like you have done.
It's a process, and when you get comfortable where you're ready to own it.
Yeah.
You're ready to own the fact that, look, yes, I believed this person. That doesn't make me stupid, that I chose to believe my significant other. You are not by yourself, but I know that it can feel like you're by yourself. And that's the thing, because it seems as if everyone is hiding what's really going on with them. So it does feel like you're by yourself, but you're not stupid. You should not be embarrassed because you got into a relationship with someone and you loved them and you trusted them. And you trusted that they would be honest with you the way that you were honest with them. But I do respect the fact that it takes a while to get to a place where you're like, you know what? I'm gonna own this. I'm gonna own my story. I'm gonna own my voice. And I've been saying this to a lot of different women, which is, no one can tell your story like you. No one. And I say this to men as well. No one can tell your story the way that you can, the way that you experienced it. So even though you may not be ready now, be open-minded to the fact that there will come a time when you are ready to tell your story, and you're ready to tell it in the way that is comfortable, for you.
When you were going through the telling of your story, sharing it online, there was a lot of emotions with that. It was such a hard moment to share it all. But now you are able to talk to people and say, yes, you know what, this is the power you can gain from it, or the power you can take back for yourself by sharing your experience. Other than taking control of your story, what have you personally feel like you've gained through sharing?
So the healing process is a process, and I'm still in the beginning portion.
Yeah.
I will say that there is a new type of confidence that comes with this. And what I mean by that, it's not a confidence of like, being cocky or arrogant. It's really a confidence of, I survived this. I can survive anything. I thrived off of this. I can thrive in any environment.
Yeah.
It's a new type of confidence where you find yourself in certain situations you never thought you'd be in, and you didn't fail. You
Yeah.
didn't fall on your face. Even if you made a mistake, it's like I'm confident in the fact that I can overcome those mistakes.
Ab-
I'm more comfortable saying that I have a different type of confidence. However, I'm still in the beginning stages of the healing portion, and that I am giving myself the grace to understand that will take time.
Absolutely. I think something that I find myself talking with a lot of women on the podcast about, or women that I'm talking to one-on-one about, is the concept of building that confidence and how it's a journey and it's not linear and every day is different than the next. And I feel like that's very similar to a healing journey. You know, some days you feel really good about where you're at, and other days you feel a bit like you've backslid, you know, but it's still something, it's a journey that you're on. And by going through it, you're able to recognize, well, if I've done this, I can do this. It takes you one step further. You almost trust yourself more by building that confidence back up, which leads me to my question for you. You were lied to for a long time. So very difficult, I'm sure, to trust people moving forward. But how have you regained a trust in yourself?
So again, it's a process. Some of it right now is a little bit of avoidance where it's like, look, I'm not ready to put myself in situations with new people where trust is required. I'm not quite there. My circle is people that have been in my life long before this story ever happened. These are people that I've built trust up with. Trust in myself, though, I understand that the reason why I was lied to and the reason why I stayed was out of the fear of being alone. So you kind of have to peel back the fear of, okay, you're afraid to say, God, if this person isn't for me, remove them. Whereas now it's really the first thing I say, because it's almost like I don't even want to invest in you if I know that this is not even going to go in my favor. So it's easier to pray that type of prayer now after you've been through some things, because you discover very quickly there are worse things than being single. And there was a time, especially when this story first happened, where that's not how I felt. I felt like being single was the worst thing, and my behavior kind of manifested that. So now it's a different mindset, which causes the trust in myself to kind of be like, look, I'm still working on myself, but God, just in case, if this person isn't for me, go ahead and remove them. And pray that very quickly, very, very quickly.
You said about not wanting to be single manifested this situation. So I'm curious, what words do you have for women or men listening who maybe feel that same pressure that, well, it's time to settle down, you know, my clock is ticking, and so I'm going to overlook red flags and settle into this relationship?
One of the things that I can honestly say is that being in a relationship with someone where you are cowering down because you are afraid that they will leave, it leads you down a road where you lose yourself. And before you know it, you don't even recognize who you are because you're doing everything to keep this relationship. It's almost like this relationship has become such a priority in your life that you are doing everything to keep it. So to the women who were in those shoes, who were like, look, I want to have a baby, I want to have a family, and life and society is telling me, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I respect the fact that that is a real fear. Let me say that again. I respect the fact that that is a real fear.
Yes.
What I am saying is that having a baby, sleeping next to the wrong person every single night is a different type of hell that you can avoid, by simply just being like, you know what, I'm not going to rush things with you. And if you see those red flags, I've been saying this and I still say it to this day, trust but verify. You can enjoy the relationship you're in, but verify everything that they are telling you. Because what is a small lie becomes a big lie as time goes on. What you ignore in the beginning will become a monster as time goes on. So it's almost like you have to ask yourself, is this really something I want to deal with every single day for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And then all the other things that come with it. And I think a lot of times, if we are honest with ourselves, we will say, look, I don't really want to deal with him. I just don't really want to be by myself.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this because I hope listeners understand where I'm coming from, which is sometimes it does take going through some mess for you to realize there are worse things than being single.
Yeah.
And I think what my goal is to try to help someone not have to go through the mess.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't want you to have to go through it in order for you to find out this was the worst decision I ever made.
Yeah.
But there are some people who that's how they learn, unfortunately.
What are some things that you do for yourself to boost yourself back up in those low moments that are perhaps resources or tools or tips that listeners could use?
So for me, I am learning, and this is my current process. I'm learning to unplug. Going viral on social media is an experience that no one ever prepares you for.
Yeah.
No one prepares you for that. However, it's important to unplug. It is important to have people around you who genuinely value and see you for you, because it really does do the heart some good to have someone that you can that is your support system, that you can kind of talk to when you're having days that are just like, today's a rough day. And I have had friends where I've had to say to them, today was a rough day. Mainly because I saw something online, or, again, no one prepares you for going viral. So no one prepares you for the positive, but also that negative.
Yeah.
And I'm learning now to unplug. I'm learning to do things that I genuinely enjoy, whether it's going for a massage, whether it's a self-care day, doing things that genuinely feel good to me. If it's a trip, if it's traveling, it's the small things, because you got to be able to take care of you. But unfortunately for me, and this is just me being honest, I kind of am having to learn, what is it that I actually like? Like, this is a season where I'm learning, what does Reesa like? Like, what does Reesa feel like doing? Do I feel like being available to everybody, or do I feel like staying in the house and maybe just going to get my nails done?
Yes.
Do I feel like having conversations, or do I feel like binge watching TV? Like, these are questions that I actually have to ask myself, because I realize, again, going back to what I said, I made a relationship so much of my priority that I kind of lost who I was.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm in this season of finding out, what do I actually enjoy? So to the listeners, I would encourage them, not only unplugging, having that support system, but finding out, what do you enjoy? It could be something as simple as, I don't really feel like getting out of the bed today. And you know what? That is okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yes.
As long as you do get up at some point, don't stay in bed for a week. But as long as it's okay to give yourself that freedom to be like, look, I just want to enjoy some Ben and Jerry's and watch an entire season of Friends.
Yeah.
That is okay. It's okay.
I think a lot of us, we're told that a relationship, a marriage, is something that is so important and defining. And of course, it is something that is important, right? But you knowing you to then be in a relationship is, I would think, what's most important. And how are you to know that you can be a great partner if you don't know yourself?
If you don't know you. Exactly.
Yes. So it's beautiful that you're taking the time to do that for yourself. This is a random question, but you said that something you love to do is go on trips. So I'm curious, have you made your trip to London? Have you made your trip to Paris? Is this happening?
I did.
Yes.
I went over the summer.
Okay.
It was a great experience. London, I gush more about London than I do Paris, so I need to do a better job. But I enjoyed it. Good. And I enjoyed it from a place of just being grateful I was there, because I finally got to go. Like, when I went to Westminster Abbey in London, I just sat there and was like, I finally made it to London. Yes. When I got to see the Palace of Versailles, or when I went out to eat in like, it was one of those things where my heart was full just in the simple fact of I have been wanting to take this trip since I was like 5.
Yeah.
And here I am. And, I understand the people who go to London every week, they go to Paris every week, every month. I
Yeah.
get it. But for me, it was just one of those moments where I was so grateful to be there. Like, it was great. It was
I
great.
love that you had that for yourself. And I'm sure
Mhm.
that feels a bit of I'm sure a bit of healing as well to be like,
Yeah.
I did this
Yeah.
for me. So
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about dating. I'm curious,
Mhm.
any tips that you might have for the girls or guys who are putting themselves out there in the dating world?
So, being completely transparent, I am not dating. I
And
am
that's okay,
purposely
girl.
not dating.
Good for
And the
you.
reason why I am not dating is because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I'm not healed enough to date. It is not fair to bleed on someone that didn't cut you.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
even though the bleeding has stopped, it's kind of like surgery. The bleeding is stopped, but you still are bandaged up. You got to heal. And
Yeah.
I'm just not there because
Yeah.
my trust is so gone. And I feel like that's not fair to whoever is new that's coming into my life, and maybe their intentions are pure. But
Yeah.
I'm so skeptical and I'm such a cynic that it's like you ruin it before it even starts.
Yeah.
So for me, I know that a lot of people are like, when are you going to start dating? Who are you dating? The most honest thing I can say is, look, I'm not dating. And
Yeah.
I don't think I should because I know I'm not ready. So I will say this. I know that online dating is not for me. I celebrate anyone that has met their significant other online dating.
Yeah.
I think it works for certain people. I just think in my case, that's not the way for me.
Yeah.
But if people are putting themselves out there and you're hoping it's your turn, I want to say to them, don't give up. Even though I'm not dating, I have not given up. I just know I'm in a period where I need to heal. But I haven't
Yes.
given up on love. I'm not out here like, forget love. Love is horrible. No, I believe in it. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's just that I want us all, myself included, to not give up on it. Don't feel like this one situation, this one experience somehow defines your entire love life. It doesn't. But it does need to make us a bit smarter, and it does need to make us a bit stronger in who we choose as a partner and not being afraid to walk away. Even if he's the finest looking guy or the finest looking woman, if it's not fitting where you are, don't be afraid to walk away.
You even mentioned in your series, there was something in the back of your head that was like, I just don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And there were people in your life who said, maybe something's a little off. How do you find the courage when people that you love and yourself have said, I don't know about this, but you do it anyway? And then
Mm-hmm.
later on, you make a hard decision to leave and you get the I told you so's. How do you deal with the I told you so's?
So for me, I anticipated a lot of I told you so's,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't get any. That was a fear I had,
Yeah.
and the reality was it's not what I got. Now, I think that the reason why I did not get that was because of the type of situation I was in, meaning
Sure.
there was nothing about my marriage or divorce that someone who loves and cares about me would have said, I told you so. It
Mm.
was more of, we have got to make sure you are okay. Like,
Yeah.
we will laugh about this when the time comes, but this is not the time to laugh.
Yeah.
Those are the people I was surrounded by.
Yeah.
So there was never an I told you so, as much as it was, we sat around and were like, I cannot believe he lied about it was mind blowing to everyone around me, to the
Yeah.
people that had met him.
Yeah.
So I feel very strongly that if you have experienced something where, yeah, everybody and their mom warned you not to do it, you did it anyway, that's okay. Because again, this is your life. You make the
Mm-hmm.
decisions for your life. But I feel like if those people love you and they support you and they have your back, there's a time and a place to laugh and say, I told you. And I feel very strongly that time and place comes with time. It's
Yeah.
not right away. So if you have friends who are like, girl, I told you so, and it's a situation where your heart is broken, I question that friendship, because friends should know this ain't the time for me to hee hee ha ha. This is the time for me to be supportive. What do you need? How can I help you? Do we need to ride at dawn? Those are the type of friends you deserve.
Yes.
Seriously, you deserve the friends who were like, you don't like them, I don't like them, and what we need to do. And I think everyone deserves that type of community when they're, because here's the thing, at the end of all of this is a woman whose heart got broken. And even though people think it was funny and it was entertaining, there's a point where the heart was broken because you really, really thought, and I said this, I thought it was my turn. So your friends and your family and your village, as I say, or your community, your people should know to support you. And they should know to kind of wrap their arms around you instead of pointing fingers, laughing at you.
We're huge on community. I think that having people in our lives who really know us and understand us and vice versa is such a game changer and allows us to be literally our best selves. Obviously, you said that you look to a lot of people that have been in your life for some time because of trust. I'm curious if you have any tips for anyone listening who's maybe moved to a new place or just trying to make some new relationships in their life, places that they can go to for community.
I know that there's a lot of different apps, like a meetup app that people use to meet new friends.
Yeah.
If you're talking about meeting friends in an organic kind of way, one, believe it or not, the gym, a good Zumba class can literally introduce you to a lot of people because all of you have something in common, which is you're trying to get healthy. So I say the gym. I would say work, but it really, you got to be careful with coworkers. But some of my closest friends are people I used to work with that I met at work. And then, of course, church. I know not everyone is religious and they may not necessarily go to church, but these are just three things off the top of my head where I'm like, you can meet people. And here's the thing, you don't have to be best friends with these people. You're blessed if you have one good friend. So it's just a matter of meeting people that you can just do things with, people that you can have conversation with. And sometimes one or two conversations can change a person's whole trajectory. So it's not as if, hey, I met Susan at the gym and we're now best friends. It's just a matter of you're having that dialogue. You get to meet people, you get to just share different experiences, share stories, and you just never know where it can lead from there. But the best relationship is the one you have with yourself. Because if you don't enjoy your own company, and I know this sounds so cliche.
No,
but
it's
if
true,
you don't
though.
enjoy your own company, then how will someone else enjoy your company?
Everyone wants to feel seen and heard and like they're a part of something. And I love what you said about how finding something that is like a common ground, a commonality, whether it's church, a workout, whatever, there's something that goes between you all and you can all find a place to be together. And honestly, I feel like you've created such a community on social media through your storytelling, people meeting other people in your comments. I'm curious, what is next for you otherwise, apart from the healing journey and spending time with yourself? What's next?
Next is a book. I'm working on a book proposal. Traveling. I really want to travel. I love traveling. And I feel like London and Paris gave me the travel bug. And I want to travel and I just want to see things and marvel at stuff. And just experience other cultures. And like I said, for me right now, I'm in a season of taking advantage of every opportunity and really trying to do it with grace and with dignity, meaning not trying to do everything for $1, but really trying to put some integrity into it because I understand that this experience and this whole who the F did I marry, it has the potential to go so much further and help way more people.
Yes.
But handle it with care. So that's the reason why the biggest project I have is the book, which you're the first person to know about it. But
I feel honored.
A book proposal is what I'm working on, and then we'll shop it for publishers.
That's amazing. What's awesome is obviously on TikTok, your story can go super viral, super far, but in print, it feels like it lives on even more. And so that is so exciting. I would love for you to share where everyone can find you on social media so we can keep up with what you're doing and hear all of the exciting book things in the future?
So I'm on TikTok at Reesa Teesa, ReesaTeesa. I'm on Instagram at Reesa Teesa, Facebook at Reesa Teesa, and Snapchat. And soon I will be launching an official YouTube page. It's in the works. It's just one step at a time, but everything is at Reesa Teesa. You can find me
Awesome.
everywhere. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, for anyone listening, if you loved this story that we're talking about now, I think it's so important to find you on those platforms and listen to your story. You are, like I said, are a brilliant storyteller. So I appreciate you sharing with everyone and then taking the time to talk to me and our community. And I know we can't wait to have you at the conference, dive even deeper into your experience and the tips you have for us. So seriously, thank you very much.
Thank you. I
Yes,
appreciate
you're
it. Thank you so
welcome.
much,
Yep.
Rachel.
Yes, of
It was
course,
a pleasure
Reesa.
talking to you.
You too, girl. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you November 3rd.